Have you ever dreamed of making your own music? Well, guess what? That $1 million studio, it's basically been shrunk down to fit right inside your laptop. But with all that power comes a whole new language of terms and tools that can be super confusing, right? Don't worry. Today, we're going to break it all down and demystify the entire process, step by step. You know, this quote really just hits the nail on the head. In the past, you needed a room packed with expensive gear to create unique sounds. Now, it's all about these secret weapons called plugins. They are the creative engine of modern music, and if you want to bring the music that's in your head to life, this is where it all starts. Okay, so here's our game plan for building out your producer's toolkit. We'll start with a big picture of a digital studio, then we'll dive into the nitty-gritty, your computer, your software, and all the creative tools inside. And, most importantly, we'll show you how to put it all together without your computer totally freaking out on you. I want you to picture a world-class recording studio for a second. You know, the giant mixing desk, the big tape machines, racks of glowing effects. Now, imagine all of that perfectly recreated in software living right inside your computer. Well, that's a digital studio, a complete production environment right at your fingertips. And at the heart of all this, your computer. It's the engine that drives literally everything. The more horsepower you have, processing power, RAM, and fast storage like an SSD, the more complex and ambitious your music can get. A powerful, optimized computer is your ticket to a smooth, creative ride. The age-old question, right? Mac, Windows, or Linux? Honestly, you can make incredible music on any of them. Mac and Windows are the long-reigning champs with the most support, for sure. But, and this is a big but, don't sleep on Linux. It's a real powerhouse now, with its own pro software and even clever tricks to run Windows plugins. The bottom line is this: the best platform is the one you already know and feel comfortable with. You know, a few simple tweaks can make a huge difference in your computer's performance. For all you Windows users, setting your power plan to high performance is a total game changer. It stops your computer from slowing down your CPU, which gets rid of those super annoying audio glitches. While you're at it, just disable any startup apps you don't need. It's such a quick way to free up resources. And finally, always keep your drivers updated. It's like a tune-up that makes sure all your gear is communicating perfectly. All right, your computer is tuned up and ready to go. Now, let's talk about your digital audio workstation, or DAW. If your computer's the engine, then the DAW is the cockpit. It's where you'll find all the controls to pilot your musical creations, from recording all the way to the final mixdown. So what is a DAW? Think of it as your all-in-one music-making command center. It's where you'll do pretty much everything. Arrange your tracks, record vocals, fix mistakes, and mix it all together into a finished song. It truly is the heart of your digital studio. Now, as you can see, not all DAWs are created equal. They kind of fall into a few different camps based on how they work. You've got your linear DAWs, like Pro Tools, which are all about that classic timeline, perfect for recording a band. Then you have non-linear DAWs, like Ableton Live, which are all about clips and loops. A total dream for electronic music producers. And of course, there are the hybrids that give you the best of both worlds. But here's the real secret. The specific DAW you choose, it honestly doesn't matter as much as you might think. The fanciest software in the world can't write a great song for you. What really, really matters is your ear, your taste, and your creative vision. That's where the real magic actually happens. So if your DAW is your canvas, what are your paints? Well, that's where plugins come in. Think of them as your artistic palette, the individual brushes, colors, and textures you'll use to create and shape every single sound in your music. Plugins generally fall into two main categories. First, you have your sound makers, virtual instruments. These are your synths, your samplers, your drum machines, anything that creates a sound from scratch. Then you have your sound shapers, effects plugins. These are the tools you'll use to mix, mold, and manipulate the sounds you've created. You'll see different formats like VST, AU, or AAX, but they all serve one of these two purposes. Let's start with the absolute king of effects, equalization, or EQ. Think of it as a super-powered tone control. With EQ, you can carve out a specific space for each instrument, making sure your kick drum and bass aren't battling for the same sonic territory, so your vocals can just shine right through. Next up, we've got compression. This is your secret weapon for adding punch and controlling dynamics. It evens out the volume of a track, making it sound more consistent and powerful. You want your drums to hit harder? Compression is absolutely your friend. And then there's reverb. This is what gives your music that sense of space and dimension. Want your vocals to sound like echoing in a vast cathedral, or maybe a cozy, intimate room. Reverb is how you paint that sonic picture, and it's what glues all the elements of your track together in a shared space. Okay, you've got your DAW, you've got your plugins, and you're making music. It's awesome. But as your tracks get bigger and more complex, you're going to run into the biggest hurdle in digital music production: your computer's own limitations. Here's the deal. Every single plugin you used puts a demand on your computer's CPU. And when that CPU gets overloaded, your creative flow just comes to a screeching halt. That's when you'll start hearing those dreaded pops, clicks, and dropouts, and your project becomes a stuttering mess. So how do you reclaim your CPU? One of the most powerful tools in your arsenal is freeze and flatten. When you freeze a track, your DAW essentially takes a snapshot of it, turning it into a simple audio file. This frees up a ton of CPU power. And if you're totally happy with how it sounds, you can flatten it to make that change permanent. Another crucial setting to know about is your buffer size. You have to think of it as a balancing act between speed and stability. When you're recording, you want a low buffer size for minimal delay so you can play in time. But when you're mixing and using a lot of plugins, a high buffer size will give your computer more breathing room and prevent those glitches. We've been deep in the technical weeds, I know, but let's zoom out for a second, because at the end of the day, all of this technology is just a tool. It's a vehicle for your creativity, not the destination itself. This right here is the most important takeaway. You could have all the plugins in the world, but without a creative vision, they're just expensive toys. Real mastery comes from knowing a few tools inside and out, and trusting your own musical instincts. The music is in you, not the software. So let's just recap the key takeaways. First, optimize your computer. It's the foundation of everything. Then, pick a DAW and become an expert in it. Master the essentials like EQ and compression. Those are your workhorses. Keep an eye on your CPU to avoid creative roadblocks, and most importantly, never forget that your ideas are your most valuable asset. So we'll end with this question for you. Making pro-quality music is more accessible now than ever before. The tools are right at your fingertips, and now you have a roadmap to get started. So what amazing sounds are you going to create?